Ashley.
Hello.
Thank you so much for, first of all, being willing to share your story and like taking the time to meet up with me. What made you kind of decide to, I know what it was, but can you tell, can you tell my people what it was that made you kind of decide to jump into neurofeedback? It's a time commitment, it's a money commitment. What made you decide?
Like, I think even the way that you would talk about the neurofeedback, because I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what neurofeedback was in the slightest. I had heard about it, but I didn't know what it was. And so when you were talking about the neurofeedback and you were like, I really want to make sure it's one of the more effective ones, like I wanted to help people, which obviously does not surprise me. That's how you are. But it's like, okay, I need to know what this is, like
Yeah.
even more so because I was like, okay, if this is like really amazing and effective and life changing, like, of course I want that. Especially once I had such a rough time in 2023 with like so many things, but then, my ectopic pregnancy kind of in the middle of the year, that later half of the year was just so tough that I was like, I really should do this.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did. Yeah, it was crazy to be able to see the change and it was pretty quick, right? Like you
Yes.
started up, I can't remember the month, but
November.
okay, in November and then the holidays were much better for
Yep.
you.
The
Yeah.
holidays were way better, and I honestly feel like I really feel like I probably saw some change even within like 2 weeks with just 4 sessions, but then for sure within like 4 to 6 weeks it was like noticeable, undeniable change,
Yeah.
right? Like I was able to not just scroll on my phone and go to bed after work, right? I could like finally go back to cooking and like doing things I actually enjoy and not just feel so like heavy and weighed down all the time. So
Yeah.
that changed within like 4 to 6 weeks. And even then it was like it wasn't like, overnight all of a sudden, but it was
Right.
like gradual over that 4 to 6 weeks. So even within that, I was still noticing things as it was going.
Yeah, continuing on. Yeah, for sure. So as the depression kind of lifted, then after that, it kind of was, I think we were on to working on some anxiety for you, right? After that point?
Mm-hmm.
Or was it, yeah.
Yes, that and like scarcity stuff with like money,
Right.
but then also it was like this very awesome juxtaposition my brain has of like scarcity mindset, but then also like, girl, don't spend every penny you have on all the cute things you want to buy. It was like this
Right.
weird dichotomy in my brain of
Yeah.
like, I want to get better at being more intentional with my money, but I also don't want to have this scarcity mindset around it that, yes, just comes from being a human in this day and age, but also was deeply rooted in my trauma. So it
Absolutely.
was a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So, and I think what I hear you saying, and what I hear a lot of people who deal with stuff like this saying, is that neurofeedback helped you find a better middle ground of
Yes.
like not being afraid that you're not going to have enough money, but also being wise about, okay, I'm going to pull back, I'm going to be intentional about my spending and all those kinds of things, right?
Yes. And
Yeah.
it just overall, in a lot of ways, I feel like the neurofeedback has helped me feel more in control of my life and myself in so many ways, but
Yeah.
especially in this way with money, right? It's like the dopamine hit and reactivity that would sometimes happen in my body with spending money or going into that scarcity mindset, which is not a dopamine hit, but would be the reactivity. It would
Right.
just be so strong either way that it's like it was consuming me, right? Whether I was super, super anxious about how am I going to make ends meet, or if it was like, ooh, this is fun. It's okay. I don't need to worry about
Yeah.
money. I can just spend, right?
Just, yeah. Or I've been trying so hard for such a long time. Oh, it's no big deal, right? And our brain just kind of tries to tell us this story. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so now I've been able to find more of that middle ground of like, okay, I can sometimes feel my brain and body being like, ooh, we want to be scared, or ooh, we really want to spend this money, but I'm able to be a lot more rational and calm and be like, okay, let me actually like slow down and think through this and be intentional instead of just going on a reaction.
Yes, I love that. Okay. And then after that, then kind of what was left over for you was all executive function related
Yep.
stuff, right? Which I think for many years I didn't even really realize the depth of the executive function stuff for myself and for you because our anxiety and but once the anxiety was gone, we're like, "Oh yeah, like we have ADHD features, right? Like we need to
Yes.
work on this." Yeah. And so what have
100%.
you noticed with that?
Yes, it's been so much better, especially with the big thing for me is cooking. Like, I do genuinely love cooking, even though it sometimes is difficult, but I just literally couldn't. I would get home from work and I could feel it in my body. I'd be like, I can't cook tonight, right?
Yeah.
And so even within, just a couple of weeks of the protocol for that executive functioning, it's like I am like wasting way less food. I'm cooking way more often, and it's
Yeah.
not such a battle, right? Like I
Yes.
feel lighter in my body, which makes it easier, but also just mentally, I'm not having this back and forth of like, oh, am I going to be able to cook? What if I'm too tired? What am I going to do if I can't cook? Blah, 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 right? Like I'm draining myself, even just
Yes.
thinking about it.
It's that pre-executive function anxiety that comes up.
Yes,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I
absolutely.
do
It's
not miss that.
Me neither. I'm like, it's just gone. If I think about it, it's way less frequent. Like, it's a
Yeah.
couple seconds, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just do that. Or I won't, right? It's like,
Right.
or I won't cook tonight, and
Yep.
whatever. But I'm not sitting here ruminating about it.
Yeah. I
And
love
so
that.
that's been so helpful. I feel like that's where I've noticed it the most is just like, wow, I can just go home and cook, and I literally just don't even think about it. I'm just like, oh yeah, I had planned this for
This is
dinner.
just part of
Cool.
life, right? And I think for people who don't have executive function issues, it is just part of life.
Yep.
It's just they just move along. And for those of us who have had that struggle, it's so real. Yeah.
It's a struggle. It's
Yeah.
a real struggle. Yes.
Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing about your PMDD, that stuff? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have pretty textbook PMDD. The week to 2 weeks before my period is a nightmare, especially mood wise. I notice that I have a lot of irritability. I know it can be different for different people. Mine is a lot of irritability. And so beforehand, when I was just using like antidepressants to help manage it, which did help a lot, I just kept having to bump my dose up. And then I would sometimes feel like, ooh, this is too much in my system. I want to come down. But then I would notice that my PMDD symptoms would flare back up. And so it was like, I just felt trapped of like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to
Yeah.
take too much medicine, but then if I don't take enough, the PMDD is horrible. And so it's been really nice to notice with the neurofeedback that irritability in general is way less, like noticeably much less. But then on top of that, I've come down 60 milligrams on my antidepressant in general. So it's
Amazing.
like, it's just helped with the PMDD immensely all the way around. So now I don't have just the one coping skill for the PMDD, right, of the medication, but it's like, it's so much more effective. The neurofeedback has been so much better at helping me find a balance. Whereas the meds, it was like, yeah, it was helpful, but it still wasn't great. And then I just felt trapped.
Yeah. Totally. Oh, I love that. Yeah, and those are the stories that I get super excited about. People who are able to get off medication. I'm super grateful that medication exists and that we have this access if we need it. But I'm also like, if we can help to not have the long term having to take it forever, yeah, I love that. So, is there anything else that sticks out about your experience and what you liked, what you didn't like, anything that sticks out?
Yeah, I think just like noticing the most random little things that will get better that I'm not even like targeting, right? Of just like, oh wow, I have the ability, like this is so silly and random, but like I have the ability to remember to like charge my electronics on time instead of waiting until they're dead. And then I'm annoyed that
Literally.
I'm like, great, it's dead and I can't use it, right? It's like
Yeah.
I'm so much more proactive. And like I think some of that's probably some executive functioning stuff, but
Yeah.
also just not being so anxious and ruminative that I'm just so
Stuck
lost
in
in
your
my own brain
head.
I
Yeah.
can't be in my life, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So just these random little things, I'll literally just be, going about my day. And I literally will out loud to myself be like, that's got to be the neurofeedback. Like, I don't know what else would be improving this thing right now? So
Yeah.
that's been, I think, one of my favorite things. It's like, yes, I love seeing the growth where I'm aiming for it, but then it's like, ooh, look at these little like
These
bonus
random
treats on the
extra
side.
treats. Yeah. So,
Yes.
so true. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So, before you started, did you have any hesitations? Were you like, was there anything in your mind that you were like, should I do this? Like, what? Does anything come to mind?
I think with anything, like I am pretty skeptical of a lot of things, even if they're well researched, etc. Like, and it's not even more so like about the thing itself. It's more so of just like, oh, I'm so complex, I'm so whatever, right? That I don't trust my own brain and body. I'm like, what if I do it
Yeah.
wrong, even though I know there's not a wrong way to do it? That was my only hesitation of like, I hope it works for me,
Yeah, for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so many of us have tried so many other things and they haven't worked, or maybe they worked a little bit, but not the expected amount, right? And so I totally get that. And I actually had that when I first started too. I was like, maybe I'm going to be the one that it doesn't work for. And thank God that wasn't the case for me. So yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you for being vulnerable and being willing to share.
Absolutely. I love talking about it, and I talk about it with anyone and everyone I can because I've seen it create so much real change for me, but also my clients, you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.